Hello and welcome to another edition of WEBN's Off the Bench. I'm Brett Conley.
I'm Samantha Russo. Thanks for joining us. It's down to the final two. The Texas Rangers will head west to the battle San Francisco Giants in the World Series. The Rangers got past the New York Yankees in the ALCS. Texas had strong pitching performances from Cliff Lee and timely hitting from slugger Josh Hamilton to reach the World Series for the first time in franchise history. The Giants beat the defending National League champion Philadelphia Phillies in the NLCS. San Francisco got behind the hot bat of Cody Ross, who had 3 big home runs. 2 came off of Phillies pitching ace Roy Halladay.
So Samantha, we know it's going to be an exciting series, but who's going to win it all?
Well, Brett, I think this makes for the perfect Anchors Challenge. Last week, Lily Zhao won the Anchors Challenge, so she is back to defend her title.
Her challenger this week is Ryan Pfleiderer. We'll see if he can steal her title. All right, so this is how it's going to work. We're going to pick a team we think will win the World Series. Lily and Ryan will then tell us why the call on the field stands or is overturned. Whoever makes the better case wins the challenge and gets to come back next week for another Anchors Challenge, and of course, will not be charged with a timeout.
The play under review is that the Texas Rangers will win the World Series in 7 games. All right, Ryan, what's the ruling on the field?
The play should be reversed. The Texas Rangers have yet to face a pitching staff like the one San Francisco has. The Giants quelled the big bats in Philadelphia, and the Phillies and Rangers are very similar squads. I would even argue that Philly has a better pitching staff than Texas, and the Giants figured out ways to get enough runs on the board to beat the 3-headed monster that is Roy Halladay, Roy Oswalt, and Cole Hamels. Cliff Lee will present the Giants with some problems, but Lee may only pitch 2 games this series. It's going to be up to C.J. Wilson and Colby Lewis to secure victories for the Rangers because the bullpen in Texas struggled in the ALDS against the Tampa Bay Rays. The Rangers closer is a rookie, and although Neftali Feliz had an amazing regular season, he's yet to play on this stage. Let's not forget that the Rangers are winless in 9 games at AT&T Park, and 4 of the 7 games this season will be played in San Francisco. Also look for injuries to be a problem for Texas. Nelson Cruz is hindered by a sore hamstring, and Josh Hamilton is playing with broken ribs. The Giants find ways to win. Something magical is happening with this club, and they play their best when they're the underdogs.
Ryan thinks the call will be overturned.
Of course he does. He's a Giants fan, so let's see more of an objective opinion coming from Lily. Lily, what do you think?
The ruling on the field stands. The Rangers will take the World Series in 7 games, and here's why. Cliff Lee has been fantastic, going 7-0 with the 1.26 ERA in the postseason. His fastball is devastating. He pitched 24 innings with 22 of them scoreless, and he knows how to carry this team on his back, showing it against Tampa Bay and against Game 3 against the Yankees. C.J. Wilson and Colby Lewis will be there to help him in the pitching rotation, and they will match up well against Tim Lincecum, Sanchez, Kane, and Bumgarner. And offensively and defensively, this team is just better. They're a high-octane offense, and they hit better, and they're fast. In the postseason, they have hit 17 home runs. Potential MVP Josh Hamilton has hit 4 home runs, and Nelson Cruz 5 in the postseason. And they like to steal bases, which is something the Giants are not good at. The Giants gave up a lot of bases, and they don't try and steal bases either. And the Rangers have stolen 16 so far as they stretch single plays into doubles. Elvis Andrus will have a field day with that. They're a better lineup offensively, and they're at home. It'll be an evenly matched series, but in the end, the Rangers' offense will be key.
So Lily thinks the play will stand, but playing the role of judge is Samantha Russo. Samantha, did Lily successfully defend her title?
Well, I do like Lily's argument. However, I am rooting for the San Francisco Giants, and I really root for the underdog, and I think that they're going to do it. So Ryan Pfleiderer is our new winner.
Before the Giants were able to reach the World Series, they had to get past the Phillies in Game 6. It was a rematch of Game 2. Southpaw Jonathan Sanchez took the mound for San Francisco, and Philadelphia sent out Roy Oswalt.
There was quite a bit of drama early on in the game. Sanchez got into trouble early, giving up 2 runs in the first inning after walking Philly third baseman Placido Polanco to start off the bottom of the 3rd inning. Sanchez went on to hit Chase Utley with a pitch in the back.
Utley made his way to first base, but the ball bounced in front of him, and he tossed it back to the mound. After words were exchanged between Sanchez and Utley, who was on first base at the time, both benches cleared, and the umpires did their best to prevent a fight from breaking out between the 2 clubs.
Brett, who do you think was in the wrong in the situation, Sanchez or Utley?
Sanchez is in the wrong. If Chase Utley wanted retribution for being hit, he exercises one of 2 options in baseball. He can either A, charge the mound, or B, have Roy Oswalt plunk somebody. Simply tossing the ball back to the mound is not a sign of disrespect, and Sanchez clearly overreacted.
Fortunately, Brett, I have to disagree with you here. Jonathan Sanchez had every right to yell at Utley. I thought it was unnecessary for him to throw the ball back. Sanchez was having a bad game and it hit him accidentally. The Phillies team on a whole was in the wrong, and the high intensity of the game led them to overreact and clear the bench.
Well, I don't think there was anything accidental about that. But unfortunately for Utley, his team never made it past the Giants.
We'll have to wait until next year to see if there's any more bad blood between the two lefties.
The latest BCS polls have stunned the college world. The Oklahoma Sooners lost to Missouri, forcing them out of the #1 spot and down to #7. The Auburn Tigers had a huge win over LSU to jump up 3 spots and is now the new #1 team. The Oregon Ducks remain at #2, and rounding out the top 5 are Boise State, TCU, and Michigan State.
For more on NCAA football, let's check in with college football insider Marcus Garcia, who's here to make some bold predictions.
All right, Marcus, we saw some huge upsets last weekend. Missouri beat #1 Oklahoma. Iowa State took down #19 Texas. And the Syracuse Orange shocked West Virginia. Can we expect any big upsets this weekend? Give us your bold predictions.
Well, guys, my first bold prediction will be another loss for the Texas Longhorns. For the second straight time this year, Texas has fallen out of the top 25 after a devastating loss to Iowa State. This week, they have to face another tough matchup against the Baylor Bears. Texas is currently 80th in points allowed and have already lost 3 games this season. 2 main causes for their struggles is their inability to stop the run and the turnover play of quarterback Garrett Gilbert. Gilbert has thrown 6 touchdowns and already has 8 interceptions. Not a good ratio. Now the Baylor Bears team they're facing has a great quarterback in Robert Griffin, who has thrown 18 touchdowns this year, and this is key reason why the Baylor Bears had the 5th ranked passing offense. I think because of this, they're going to have a high-powered passing attack against the struggling Texas Longhorns. So, for the second straight time, Texas will lose this week.
That was pretty bold. Do you predict any other major upsets this weekend?
Sam, I'm going to make even a bigger, bolder prediction and say that Iowa will take down undefeated Michigan State. Now, this is a very intriguing matchup because both teams have solid quarterbacks. Now, if we look at Michigan State, we see that they have one quality win, which was against #10 Wisconsin. They have the ability to put points on the board, and their passing game is ranked 34th, and their defense is just as good, currently ranked 11th in points allowed. However, this week they are taking on what I believe to be an equally strong Iowa team, whose defense is even better. They are ranked 11th in points allowed, and Iowa barely lost to Wisconsin last week, and Michigan just barely squeaked by Northwestern. So I'm going to go on a limb in here and going to pick the home team on this one and say that Iowa takes down the mighty Spartans this weekend.
Those were some pretty bold predictions.
We'll see if any of them come through this weekend. We'll be watching. Thanks for joining us.
Anytime, guys.
The NHL is back in action. The Chicago Blackhawks are looking to defend their Stanley Cup championship. Meanwhile, the Philadelphia Flyers are aiming to keep pace and take another shot at the trophy.
Now joining us for more on the start of the hockey season is NHL insider Brandon Fox.
Brandon, which team do you think is going to be the most successful throughout the season?
I'm going to have to go with the Vancouver Canucks. Last season, Henrik Sedin was the NHL's leading scorer and league MVP, and he did it all without his brother Daniel. He was out most of the season with an injury. Well, they're back together, and if all goes well, it should pay big dividends for the Vancouver Canucks. The brothers have combined for 21 points in their first 8 games this season. Look for Mikhail Samuelsson and Ryan Kessler to help push the pace up front. And on the back end, Kevin Bieksa, Dan Hamhuis, and Christian Ehrhoff will be defending and will be counted on for stability. If the Canucks get solid play on both ends of the ice and goalie Roberto Luongo is playing well, then the Canucks should find themselves on top of the Western Conference come playoff time.
So the Vancouver Canucks are obviously off looking good so far, but have any other teams really surprised you at the start of the season?
It's definitely the New Jersey Devils this summer. The Devils made an unprecedented move. They re-signed top free agent Ilya Kovalchuk to a 15-year, $100 million deal. But the team is still looking for a return on their investment. The New Jersey Devils have only gone 2-6-1 to start the season. The Devils will rely on goaltender Martin Brodeur and their offensive depth to produce goals. Look for Kovalchuk, Zach Parise, Patrick Elias, and Travis Zajac to be carrying the load for this team up front. The Devils added some depth to the blue line by signing Henrik Tollander and Anton Volchenkov. Rookies Matt Taormina and Matthew Corrente have played well and look to be fixtures on the blue line as well. The one thing the Devils seem to be lacking is chemistry, so they're going to need to find some in order to win games.
Thanks for joining us, Brandon. Last week we found out more about this year's Celtics team. This week we will head west, and NBA insider Jeff Kolb will tell you which teams look promising. Welcome back to WEBN's Off the Bench.
If you're just tuning in, where have you been?
Two quarterbacks bite the dust. Minnesota Vikings QB Brett Favre left Sunday night's game defeated and with a broken foot. Whether or not he will be placed on the disabled list is still up in the air. And what started last week as a bruised thumb is now a fractured arm and collarbone for Dallas Cowboys quarterback Tony Romo. He's expected to be out for at least 6 to 8 weeks. This week's player profile features New Orleans Saints passer Drew Brees. Last Sunday, Brees threw for 356 yards, including 2 touchdown passes and 4 interceptions in the Saints' 30-17 loss to the Cleveland Browns.
Brees puts up huge numbers once again, but those 4 turnovers did not help his team at all. What happened to him last week? Brees has thrown 8 interceptions the last 3 games. He now has 10 this season, which is tied for the league. That's 1 shy of the 11 Brees had during the Saints' Super Bowl winning season last year. The injuries to Pierre Thomas and Reggie Bush have clearly affected Brees' play. The quarterback has 56 pass attempts, his highest output this season.
Brees also had his lowest passer rating of the season with a 65.8. The lack of a run game has left the Saints more one-dimensional, and opponents are sitting back on the passing game. The Saints might be experiencing a post-Super Bowl letdown, and Brees may have trouble refocusing. The Saints sit in 3rd place in the NFC South and will need Brees to step up if they want another Lombardi trophy. And that's your weekly player breakdown. Let's move from the gridiron to the hard court. The NBA season is underway. For more on what to expect this year, we bring in NBA insider Jeff Kolb. Jeff, thanks for joining us.
Anytime, guys.
Jeff, I've heard a lot about the teams out east, but which team do you expect to lead the Western Conference this season?
Well, Brett, as the defending champions, the Lakers are the league's #1 team. The most compelling reason to believe in LA is Kobe Bryant, who is the game's most clutch player. When the Lakers beat the Celtics in the finals, they proved to be the most complete team in the NBA.
All the key parts are back for the purple and gold, so has any team improved enough to beat them?
The team with the best shot of doing just that are the Oklahoma City Thunder. Experience means everything when it comes playoff time in the NBA. After taking the Lakers to 6 games last year in the opening round, there is no reason to believe MVP candidate Kevin Durant and company can't shock LA this year. Keep an eye on point guard Russell Westbrook, who averaged Steve Nash-like numbers in 2010 and can shut down 36-year-old Derek Fisher on defense.
So you've got the Lakers and Thunder at the top of the conference.
But Jeff, what happened to Dallas? The Mavericks finished close to the top of the conference last season. Can we expect them to be up there too?
That's a good question, Brett. Although the Mavericks are a solid team, let's not forget about another Texas squad. If you're surprised that I'm picking the San Antonio Spurs, don't be. There's a general perception about the Spurs that they are really old, but they aren't. FYI, Tim Duncan is 34 years old, so is Kevin Garnett. As far as big men out west, Duncan was still top 5 in scoring and rebounding last season. With Tony Parker back and healthy, expect the Spurs to surge back to the top of the pack in the West. Watch out for newcomer Thiago Splitter, a 25-year-old Brazilian center who comes to San Antonio after playing professionally and nationally in Spain. Last year, he was MVP of the Spanish League. This year, he's Duncan's sidekick.
Thanks for the knowledge, Jeff.
Anytime, guys.
That's all the time we have for this week's episode of Off the Bench. I'm Samantha Russo.
And I'm Brett Conley. For more information, be sure to check out our website at WEBN.tv. Thanks for watching WEBN's Off the Bench, where we give you an insider's view of sports world. See you next week.